You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Tuesday. My name is Brock.
I'm Dalby.
We got lots of Stanley Cup talk coming up on the show, but I do want to start the podcast here with an apology.
Yep.
Because we fucked up hard yesterday.
Honestly, we did, and I didn't even notice it until I got home and I was pushing upload to send the podcast to the internet.
It's something that we had been looking forward to for over a week now, and I can't believe we fumbled the bag on this. If you listen to the podcast every day, you may notice that today is episode 70.
Yes.
Which means yesterday was episode 69, and
Nice.
we did not make any mention of it yesterday.
The worst is because we've started doing that like bonus podcast with the Texas Tuesday stuff, the Would You Rather on Saturdays. And last week we specifically had a conversation about not wasting episode 69 on a Saturday. Let's not do a Saturday episode. So Monday is episode 69. And then what did we do? We didn't mention it at all.
Just forgot about it. It wasn't very nice at all.
Not even a little bit nice.
I don't know why 69 is such a funny number. Like, I don't even remember. Maybe I was in like grade 5 when I learned like kind of the sexual meaning of it.
Sure, yeah.
But like since then, still this day, I don't know. It makes me laugh. I don't know if that makes me immature. It probably does, but
South Park didn't help with the episodes that they did about like 69.
Yeah.
Nice. Like it's become part of the cultural touchstone.
yeah, I mean, every beer league team, slow pitch hockey that I've ever played on, there's always one guy that's got to pick 69.
Oh, was it the Shorzy? Is it number 69
True,
in the TV
yeah.
show?
Doug
Like,
Glatt in
Goon?
In Goon, yeah.
Yeah.
Jay Barristow's like, pick 69. It's hilarious.
yeah. It's just a number that it's like, what's the old Louis C.K. thing about like, you don't have to, basically saying all fart jokes are funny.
Yeah.
69 will always be funny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how old you are, how young you are. Once you hear it for the first time in the right context, you will giggle for the rest of your life.
69, 420. Is that those like the two funny numbers, I guess?
Yeah. Oh, my kid was playing a game the other day. And he's like, guess what my high score was, Dad? And I just was like 69,420. And nobody in the car understood why I was laughing so hard.
Dude, I pulled over about a year and a half ago driving in the car because I noticed we were at like 69,418. Me and Courtney drove around a parking lot for like 5 minutes just so I could take a picture of my dashboard saying 69,420.
So there you go. That's who you're tuning into every day on the radio and on this podcast to listen to is a couple of mutts like us.
Sometimes, depending on the mood, I also enjoy 666s, but well, that's a conversation for another day, my dark lord.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
What a game last night, dude.
Did you stay up for the whole thing?
Oh my gosh, dude. That is the most intense I've ever felt watching a game where I do not care about either team.
I had a rooting interest, so I was kind of locked in because of how much I hate the Oilers. Watching that last, I would say 10 minutes and how close the Oilers came to scoring on multiple occasions, you're right. I don't usually feel that feeling unless my team is playing.
Bobrovsky stood on his head, and I mean,
It's crazy.
It was very sad to see the Oilers lose last night. I know Canada cheering them on. Oh, the post-game conference with McDavid. Oh, dude, looks so sad. But
I will say that's where we part ways. You stick around for that stuff. The final whistle went, Florida started celebrating, and I went, good night.
I will say, though, there's one thing I love every year. It doesn't matter who wins. When they start passing around the Stanley Cup, that is one of the most beautiful moments in all of sports, in my opinion.
It's funny because like we talk about these highly dedicated, focused athletes, and they can almost be like robotic sometimes, and we lose sight of the humanity with the money and everything in the game. But as soon as a guy holds up the Stanley Cup, he's 7 again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he becomes a kid again.
Well, I sit there and it makes me miss playing sports. I mean, I still play rec sports, but it's been a while since I've won something.
Oh, yeah.
And I miss that feeling. I mean, I can't even compare to an NHL player. I mean, what's the last thing I won? Like, I won like a men's slow pitch league like 4 years ago, but that doesn't really count. Like,
I was in a shuffleboard league for a while back in Edmonton, so that's going back like maybe 10, 15 years.
the average person doesn't like really win anything. I mean, like The most thing I won, like, I don't know, like a free small fries during McDonald's Monopoly. Like,
I won $4 on a lottery ticket I bought this weekend.
You know what? I think the closest the average person gets to winning stuff is like a free play or something. Like hearing Winner Gagnon as some people's Stanley Cup on a day-to-day basis.
Dude, hearing the jingle and seeing that $4, I was just like, woo! I paid $15 for that ticket. I did not come out on top.
It's crazy to think that when you're standing in a Circle K or a gas station and you're annoyed with the guy with 1 million scratch tickets.
This could be his Stanley Cup.
That's their Stanley Cup moment, right? I mean, if you think about it, what do they do when someone wins the lottery? They always take a photo of them.
Yeah.
That's like the Stanley Cup winning photo, right?
That's
there.
right. Although I would lose it to see somebody running around a Circle K holding a ticket over their head the way they do the Stanley Cup.
It's probably happened before.
Doing laps around the store.
Not only do you get one, but you've got 10 Stanley Cups in your hand?
That's
Dude.
right. Yeah, that's right. Take that, Bobrovsky. Where's your 10 lottery tickets?
That's the closest the average person gets to the feeling of winning anymore, which is sad, but it's true.
Damn, and then not only do they get the feeling of winning, but also the millions of dollars. They're really doing something out there.
Closest to being an athlete, too, I guess.
Well, I mean, that ship sailed for a lot of us a long time ago.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We're talking about wins here, and there's actually a lot of you that have won some cool stuff. A lot of you have won some stuff from the station, concert tickets and whatnot. We've got a few lottery winners in there.
Yeah, I saw one that was something like $88,000 or something like that, that's a very oddly specific amount of money, but also would really change things if you won it.
A few people texted in saying that they've won Employee of the Month at their work. But, like, what does that really mean? Like,
I mean, generally, it's just a plaque.
Yeah.
And you don't even really get to keep it. A lot of the ones I've seen in, like, different offices from doing, like, deliveries and stuff is it just has a spot where you slide in the picture of the employee.
I guess in, like, professions, is that the closest people get to winning something at work? I mean,
yeah, other than maybe like if your company does like a staff draw around Christmas time for like giveaways and things like that.
If you're a sales guy, then there's actual rankings for that, I feel like, right? Like if you go to a car dealership, you'll see who the top dog is.
Right, yeah, because they have a metric that you can follow, whereas someone who does like accounting or HR or something like that, like there isn't a number you can look at and be like, well, that's the best dang HR representative in all of Ontario.
Chefs, I guess, win awards. They enter contests.
Michelin stars and that sort of thing.
Even cops have quotas. I'm sure at the police station there's something, right?
Yeah, you'd think there's probably a little whiteboard somewhere in the back where the people can't see it that says, you know, so-and-so got so many arrests and stuff like that.
You know how, like, lumberjacks have the lumberjack games? What if we had, like, the live PD Olympics? See how many people they can arrest.
I mean, isn't that basically what Cops was at a time? It was just looked like these guys were out hunting numbers, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was probably something to toot your own horn if you were a cop that made it on Cops.
Yeah. Fire department, I probably don't have too much there. I mean,
there are fireman games. That is a thing.
Oh, that's true.
That is a thing.
Where they got to haul stuff up and down stairs.
There's most definitely bragging rights between firehouses on that kind of stuff.
That's true. But that's only for the ones that are in shape enough to do it. Like, if you're just an average,
I think if you're a fireman, you're usually pretty good to go.
Well, I mean, TV has led me to believe there are some that are not. But.
True. Bartenders have, like, there's bartender Olympics and stuff like that.
Yeah. All the, like, flippy, pory type, the Tom Cruise cocktail moves.
We need to have more championships for, like, you know, like regular sports or something. Like there should be like a mechanic games or something, like who can do the fastest oil change.
Well, I mean, look at NASCAR. We already watch any kind of auto racing that has like
tire rotations.
We already marvel at how fast they can do a pit stop. Now show me that on like a Toyota Celica or something like that. Like I don't need to see it on a F1 car. Show me how fast you can do an oil change.
Like a Jiffy Lube versus a Great Canadian Oil Change or something.
That's right. I don't care if you're sponsored by McLaren. I want to know if you're from the local Mazda dealership.
The World Plumbing Championships, who can unclog a toilet the fastest.
That's right. It's just a series of toilets side by side. They've all got the same problem. You got to diagnose, fix, and repair.
Electrical could be wiring a house like the fastest. I don't know if you want it to be the fastest, actually.
I was just going to say, I feel like electrical games might end up with people losing more than winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There is, like, for offices, I remember, what's it called? When they do that ESPN 8, the Ocho thing, they had a thing last year that was like the Microsoft Excel spreadsheet competition.
Dude.
So,
honestly.
like, that's probably the biggest thing for, like, anyone that works, like, in an office at a computer.
Ooh, what about, like, typing, too, for people who work on their computers? Like, who can get the highest words per minute?
That's gotta be a thing.
That has to be a thing. I mean, we used to do that in high school. I have to imagine at some point it's become a thing.
Yeah.
An actual sport that people compete in.
Any sort of construction or trades job, you could probably, like, if you had, like, the tradie games or something like that.
Yeah.
I'd watch the hell out of that, man.
Dude, who can lay a row of shingles the fastest? And then someone comes by at the end, like, you get your time, and they come by and kind of tug on them to make sure they're in place
and
properly.
then they check your blood alcohol level.
Right, and if it's too low, you're disqualified, right? That's...
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I want to ask the question today. How do you feel about being tracked using your cell phone?
I mean, every day it tracks everything I do, so at this point I've just kind of accepted it.
Do you take any precautions, though? Like, when you get new apps and stuff like that, do you try to turn off all that stuff? Or you just sort of accept that I'm going to be on the internet, it's going to find me?
I mean, I guess it depends. Some of them, like, require your location to be on. For Snapchat, I refuse to do the Snap Map thing where everybody can see where I am at all times.
Right, yeah,
That's just creepy to me.
Yes, because that's the thing, and I think you must be about the cusp, because I was reading an article in the Financial Times that was sort of talking about modern privacy and how as we get younger and younger with people, they seem to be more and more not only willing to be tracked, but almost like looking to be tracked by the internet, by their phones.
Okay.
Things like the Snap Map are one of the examples of, like, over a certain age, it's more likely that, like, I have mine turned off, you have yours turned off. But at a younger age, they're almost all universally left on because they want to know where their friends are. They want their friends to know where they are.
I feel like it's almost just kind of like, I guess, this generation's version of, like, when you'd go on MSN and sign in and sign out just to, like,
get people's attention.
Show people that, yeah, you're doing something, right?
There's also a rise in apps, though, that the whole purpose of the app is to track and be tracked by other people. Again, this article talks about an app called Life 360, wherein you sign up with your either friend group or family group, however you want to do it, and it basically will just tell you the other people in your group's location at any time.
I think that's for probably people who have kids and they want to keep a tab on them.
For the family part, for sure.
Or it's for, like, people who don't trust their partners. It's 100%. It's the same couple that uses that app is the same couple who has a joint Facebook account.
The shared name Facebook account.
Absolutely.
So that they can keep an eye on everything that they're doing.
But, dude, even, like, I mean, you're talking about all these apps and stuff. If you have an iPhone, there's just, like, you should go to your settings because there's a creepy thing that your iPhone does where it knows the common locations that you go to.
Yeah.
So in the morning, like when I leave the house, it knows where the gym is. When I leave the gym, it knows that I'm going to work. When I leave work, it knows that I'm going home. It'll tell me as soon as I get in the car, like, hey, 3 minutes to home, 5 minutes to the gym, 6 minutes to work. It knows my kind of rotation of what I do every single day. Your phone's just smarter than you now.
Android Auto has the very same thing. When I plug it into my if I'm plugging it into my car here, it's going to assume that I'm leaving the station and going home. Hey, do you want me to make you a route? No, I'm good. Thank you very much.
I almost feel like I'm like Jason Bourne or something fleeing when I go in the wrong direction because my phone's like, dude, my phone, even in like the morning, like it's like I was doing all those planks for a bit there. It's still like when I get up in the morning, it's like, want to set a 1 minute timer? Like your phone knows so much of what's going on in your life. It's creepy as hell now, dude.
And so that's the thing. That's where they're saying the big age gap is that over a certain age, we grew up not having these things, not having these smart devices that figured our lives out, and that's why we're freaked out by it. but at a certain age and younger, this is all they've ever known. So when we see your phone go, do you want a 1 minute timer? Because you used to work out around this time. We go, creepy. What the hell? Whereas kids go, hey, thanks, Google. I appreciate that. And
I
then
hope
they fire
not,
it
man.
up.
You can't trust this technology, dude.
There you go. That's the oldest you've ever sounded on this show, is that statement right
You
there.
can't trust this crap, man.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We've talked about before what a wasteland Facebook Marketplace is. I mean, between trying to get people to buy your stuff or buying things from people, and just even some of the stuff that you see for sale on there is crazy at times.
The fascinating selection. I like to go on Marketplace with no intention of buying anything, but just to see what's out there.
I just sent you a link on
Yes.
Facebook. If you can open that up, and for
Okay.
anyone that's listening, text the word cracker to 762-555.
Or check the podcast links if you're listening late.
I'll send you this photo. Someone on Facebook Marketplace in Toronto for $995. You seeing it? They're selling a goldfish cracker that they say resembles the Pope.
You know what? I see it.
You see it?
I see the Pope.
They're saying that it's supposed to be the Pope blessing a
Yeah.
goldfish.
He's got his hand out like, rest my child.
The description on the Facebook Marketplace post is hilarious. It says, this one-of-a-kind goldfish turned up in my bag of Cheese Trio goldfish crackers. It is all fused as one piece. I clearly see a Pope blessing a fish. Says, this is 100% real. No alterations. If you think you are being funny by sending a joke, I can promise you are not being original or funny. The joke is stale, unlike this cracker, which I have sealed in a plastic bag since I found it. They want $995 for a goldfish cracker, dude. I mean, like, I kind of see it.
I see it completely. I see the hat. I see the arm. I see the hand. I see the whole thing. I only wonder, though, if you had just sent me this picture and it didn't have the giant blog TO Pope cracker headline above it, would I still have seen it?
See, my thing is I see it's a mix between the Pope,
Yeah.
and not to be crass, but it also kind of looks like a wiener, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, most goldfish kind of have that vibe to them.
Not even trying to be immature. It's like the way the Pope, the figure is. It's like a wiener, maybe a gun. Like, I see the Pope thing, but if anything, like maybe even like a Pope twerking if you turn it the other way. Like,
It's throwing it back.
$995 for this thing? Like,
I mean, obviously, that's a ridiculous price.
what do you even do with it?
That's the question.
Do you mount it on the wall? I mean, I guess you can't mount it. It's a cracker.
Well,
like,
but you put it in the plastic.
Frame?
You get it framed.
Yeah.
Right? You put it up on the wall. You display it to people. Maybe donate it to a local church if it has religious bent to it.
put it in epoxy. And it even says in the description, like, this isn't a first of its kind thing. Like, there was someone who bought that Jesus toast for $20,000.
I mean, it used to be a running joke in the late 90s, early 2000s of people who would see Jesus Christ burned into their grilled cheese sandwiches and stuff like that, to the point where, honestly, that delusion, so to speak, is where we got toasters that burn imprints and images into things.
There was even, if you remember, Harambe, the gorilla that died at the Cincinnati Zoo. Someone found like a flaming hot Cheeto and sold it for a ton of money. Like, who's in the market for this stuff? I mean, I know there's tons of weird art collectors out there, but
That's the thing. With the internet and all the internet points that don't actually mean anything,
yeah.
there are always going to be people who have more money than brains. There is, I guarantee, somebody who's going to see this article or this ad and go, I got $1,000 to buy the Pope chip.
I just love the idea of him being like, don't send me any jokes. It's basically like, I know what I have.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. Like, don't mess with me.
This guy knows. He's like, you can roast me all you want, but I'm going to get $1,000 for a goldfish.
The market for this is people who get stoned and have too much money.
That's exactly
That's
it.
the market,
That's
yeah.
the Venn diagram, is I have a big bag of weed and a big bank account, and where they overlap, we're buying goldfish popes.
People used to buy artwork where you had to like stop and stare and look at it for a while. Now we're just buying food items.
We're just buying deformed goldfish crackers.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Would this count as communion if you ate the Pope goldfish?
Does have to be blessed. It's got to be blessed first.
the body of Pope.
Does it count as a religious tax benefit? if you buy.
I think it should. I think that it seems reasonable.
Someone did bring up on the text line at 762-555. Imagine how terrifying it would be to meet up with the guy who's selling the Pope goldfish cracker.
You have to assume, even just from like the way that they write their ad and stuff like that this person might be a little crazy.
Yeah,
just a tad.
I mean, it's kind of a tit for tat thing. Whoever's selling and buying the Pope goldfish,
True.
you got to be a certain individual, right?
Hard to take the high road when you're buying Pope.
It's not a real meeting of the minds, I imagine, right?
They're not sending their best.
But even, I mean, whoever's selling it and whoever's buying it, the whole event would be stressful. Like, are you putting it in a Ziploc bag? Are you going to have it in Tupperware or something?
Yo, show me the money. Show me the cracker.
Yeah.
Show me the Pope.
Even like the whole thing of like anytime you go to sell something, someone's like, can I see it first? Like,
Yeah.
I'd be paranoid.
Imagine you pull out your Pope goldfish cracker because the person wants to verify before they send you the money, and all of a sudden they just jam it in their mouth. What do you do?
Yeah.
He just ate the Pope.
Yeah.
There's no follow-up to that now.
I mean, you most definitely have to do a public meetup for that, but
Do you meet up at a church?
I'm most definitely not having someone come to my house to buy the Pope goldfish cracker.
I'm not going to someone's house to buy the Pope goldfish cracker. I'm not buying it to start with, but I'm certainly not going to someone's private residence.
Is it just me, and I know this is going to sound stupid, but whenever I buy something on Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, or if someone's going to buy something off me, if I have to go to their residence or they come to my house, there's a small part of me that thinks, I might die today.
This is it. 100%.
Yeah.
I think if you don't have that thought, you're a little bit on the naive side of things. Like, honestly, most of these transactions come and go and pass without incident. But you have to be vigilant.
I will creep the hell out of your Facebook profile.
Before you give your address?
Before I even agree to the sale.
Yeah.
I'm checking out your whole Facebook profile just to see if we have any weird mutuals that I don't like or anything like that. You don't know, man. Like, I think I also starting to watch too many murder documentaries and listen to too many podcasts at this point. But
I mean, that's just it, right? We as a society became obsessed with true crime, and now here you are almost volunteering to become an episode.
Dude, I sold a barbecue a few years ago, and I didn't have a truck or anything to move it anywhere.
Right.
I met them at the corner of my street because I was like, I don't want them coming to my house.
Right. So it gives you some vagueness to like, well, he lives in this neighborhood because he couldn't have gotten far carrying a barbecue.
Well, at the same time, I didn't think about it till Courtney said, she's like, do you know how sketchy you look standing at the corner? You look like you stole that barbecue. You're worried about these people thinking, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're keeping your location safe from the buyer. Meanwhile, all your neighbors that you will deal with on a regular basis are going, Lewis kid's up to something.
Well, even if you pulled up to buy the barbecue, you're like, why is he meeting us at the corner? Like,
why is he standing on the street with his grill?
The idea of pulling up to a gas station and just seeing a guy with a goldfish cracker in his hands. Are you here for the Pope?
Dude wandering back and forth in front of the front door of the mall. You're just like, is this guy okay? Why has he got this bag with crackers in him?
He's asking for a deposit down before you show up.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup, and Dalby has been very adamant about how much he hates the Edmonton Oilers. He has been proclaiming throughout this entire Stanley Cup final and for about 20 years of his life how much he hates the Edmonton Oilers.
Lifelong hater.
We got this bad line message from a guy after Game 6 attacking Dalby.
Hey, Dalby. You wanted the Oilers to win, to lose tonight? Yeah, guess what? You fucking fat loser. They fucking won.
That's a lot of venom.
Piece of fucking shit for cheering against a Canadian team. Why don't you move to the U.S.?
And when we talked about it yesterday, we were saying if the Oilers lose, we should give this guy a call.
We have to give him a call because I want to see two things. One, I'll have a ton of respect for him if he just answers the phone. No matter where the call goes from there, answering the call after leaving a voicemail like that is a bold move. And then I want to see if he's got that same energy. Does he feel vindicated that the team did as well as, because they had a great Game 7?
Sure.
Does he feel vindicated in the team? Is he going to come back like, oh, I was just having a bad night, couple drinks, blah, blah, blah?
I will say I've got the delay button going here just in case he chooses to use some of his vocabulary from previous.
He's definitely got a blue-collar lexicon from what we can tell.
I've got the number here. Are you ready? I'm going to kind of step back and let you take the wheel on this one.
Listen, I'm not looking for a fight. I'm mostly just curious what kind of energy this guy brings. So let's get him on the phone.
Okay, let's see how this goes.
Hello.
Hey, who are we talking to?
They're talking to your greatest fan, Roger.
How you doing, man?
Not bad, not bad.
So, how are we feeling after the game last night?
Well, you know what? It kind of stings. It kind of sucks. And every Canadian has, some empathy for that. Not go against our own Canadian team.
I mean, I'm a Detroit fan. I've never cheered for a Canadian team.
Yeah, well, maybe you should move to Detroit.
So, no regrets about the saltiness of the phone call the other day, eh?
No regrets? No, not one.
Can we all be friends here? Is that something we can accomplish here today, Roger?
Oh, certainly. Sports brings out the best and the worst in people, so yeah, sure.
Roger, you went a little hard on me the other day, but I will say, I respect your passion. I'll give you that, Roger.
All right, sounds good, man.
All right, man. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
I guess he was done.
I'm sure I didn't say much during that. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
Is it wrong that, I don't think it's right what he said to you.
Right.
This is one of the few moments where I do respect the man.
100%. I said
he
it
stood
before.
by his word.
He picked up the phone knowing it was us, because I didn't even say it was Brock and Dalby, and he knew it was us.
Yeah.
He stood by exactly. He still has the same, why don't you move to America if you like American teams, which it's the healthcare. But anyway, he's 100% still the same guy that made that phone call after Game 6. And I respect it. He's the reason the Oilers lost. That's just karma.
Okay. I will say, man. A lot of the times it's like people can talk the talk.
That's right.
If you confront them,
they don't back it up.
I have a lot of respect for Roger.
Roger, we're probably never going to watch a game together. I don't see us grabbing a beer anytime. But I got respect for you for being a fan of the team.
Roger's the kind of guy who stands by his word. Roger's the kind of guy that says if he's going to bring his truck to your house to help you out,
he's going to bring his truck to your house.
He's going to help you out, yeah.
And the box is going to be cleaned out. He's going to be ready to do some lifting.
Roger's also the kind of guy I feel like that says, I'm going to knock you out.
Yeah.
He's probably going to knock you out.
He's probably going to swing at the very least.
Yeah.
So I think me and Roger will just keep our distance. But hey, kudos to you for sticking to that energy, brother.
Big shout out to Roger, man.
And to the Florida Panthers, Stanley Cup champions.
Sure.
Big shout out to Florida.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
Let's see what he's got.
Good morning to you. Today's word is taciturn. Yeah.
Huh?
Taciturn, I think. Taciturn. Taciturn. And anyways, it's often quiet. That doesn't happen around here. Stereo's always blared. Oh, well, that's about it. Have a great one. Cheers her up.
So I thought he was saying tax return.
I was like, his word of the day is tax return. It's not even the right season for that.
See, did he get it right?
Taciturn.
Yeah, so it's reserved, uncommunicative. I'm finding the text line today to be a little on the taciturn side, as all the people who were yelling at me for talking about the Oilers seem to have gone taciturn today.
It's the same group of people that whenever the Leafs win, they get very taciturn.
Very taciturn when the Leafs win on the text line. I've noticed that as well.
So if you were the guy at the party who's kind of sitting on the couch not talking to someone, you would be taciturn.
Yeah, look at Brock over there all taciturn. And it's like, no, he's not really taciturn. He's just 12 beers deep. Doesn't know what else to say.
Taciturn sounds like something like my Uncle Eugene would say while he's driving me. He's like, oh, taciturn back there.
From out east.
Yeah. it almost sounds like Newfoundland gibberish, like, just mumbling words together.
Gotta turn the radio down, don't want to taciturn.
Are you going to go down the street taciturn at the Red House there? That's exactly what that sounds like.
Playing Monopoly. Come on now, taciturn.
In my mind, it's the guy who doesn't know how to speak, not the one who has a problem with speaking. Well, if you got a quiet fella on the job site, tell him he's a taciturn.
Tell him he's being taciturn, or if you've got an East Coast relative, just get them to pronounce taciturn, and that could be fun too.
Taciturn, taciturn, taciturn. Use it wherever you can, guys.
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store. With all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.